Okay, when discussing the Shirat HaYam, I want to focus on the word that begins the entire Shirah, Az Yashir Moshe. Az. At that point, Moshe and Bnei Israel, they sang the song of praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the significance of the word Az? Az appears here in this Shirah. It appears also in the Shirah later on in Bamidbar. Az Yashir Bnei Israel, Alu Bnei Be'er Nula. And the question is, what exactly is the significance of the word Az? So the simplest understanding of Az means that at this point and not before. This is when they began to sing a song of praise and not before. And that basically means that we have to look at the psukim that precede the Shirah to find what was it that generated all of a sudden this outburst of Shirah and praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the psukim say, Vayosh Hashem bayom ha'u'ed Yisrael miyam Mitzrayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeemed and saved the people. Vayar Yisrael, what did they see? Vayar Yisrael at Mitzrayim meit al Shirat HaYam. First of all, they saw that all the Egyptians that were running after them, chasing them, threatening them, they were all dead. Vayar Yisrael tayad ha'gedolah asher asa Mitzrayim. They also saw the great hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol and what he did to Mitzrayim. Vayiru ha'am et Hashem, and they were fearful of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vayaminu b'Hashem u'Moshe avdo. So first of all, what you have here are three different things. What you have here is one, redemption, the fact that they were saved. Secondly, you have that there was a revelation, religious experience. They saw or experienced the Yad HaGdolah, the great hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that led them to fear. And the third thing that led to emunah, Vayaminu b'Hashem u'Moshe avdo. I think the order goes in that direction. In other words, it goes from the thing which is most simple to the thing that really, the thing that's closest to the Shirah is what brings about this eruption of praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the fact that all of a sudden this absolute pure faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's what leads to the Shirah. I want to discuss that point a little bit. And first of all, the Chazal have a drush on the pasuk Zeh Keliv Anveyu. Zeh usually is used when somebody actually points and sees and is able to look at something in a very, very clear way. So the Mechilta says Zeh Keliv Anveyu. Rabbi Lezer Omer Rata Shivcha Al Hayam Mashlo Ra'u Yeshayahu v'Yecheskel. It was the revelation, the religious experience of Am Yisrael in the Midbar. The Shivcha Al Hayam, a maid at Kriyas Yamsuf, had a greater revelation than Yeshayahu or than Yecheskel. It was what it focuses upon is that Shira is a result of Vayar Yisrael at Yad HaGdolah Mitzrayim Vayaminu b'Hashem Moshe avdo. The fact that there was all of a sudden this unbelievable revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In order to appreciate what the revelation was, I mean, we're talking about a year of Eser Makos. There was one nace after another, but nevertheless, the Kriyas Yamsuf seems to have a very, very specific role, and it's unique in terms of generating the Shira. So I think that when you talk about the Kriyas Yamsuf and what leads up to the Shira, if we take a look at the Psukim seem to indicate very strongly that it's not that Am Yisrael crossed the Red Sea, when it was turned into dry land. They crossed the entire Red Sea, and as the Egyptians were following them, all of a sudden Moshe Rabbeinu, pointed his hand, and all of a sudden they were drowned. But if we take a look at the Psukim, it says, "Vayomer Hashem Moshe nitei yadcha al hayam v'yashu hamayim al Mitzrayim al rechbo al Parashat." Pull out your hand, raise your hand, and on the ocean, and it will go, and it will drown all the Egyptians. And that's what he did. Vayet Moshe et yado, vayashu al yam lefnot boker leitano. The ocean returned to what it was beforehand, and all the Egyptians were drowned. And then it says afterwards, Uvnei Yisrael halchu bayavasha betoch hayam v'mayim l'choma b'minos v'lam. It repeats a pasuk that originally appeared before, and it says, "Bnei Israel walked b'yabasha b'toch hayam," and the yam on their right, on the left, was like walls. So why does it repeat this pasuk? I think the answer is because Am Yisrael did not reach the shore. They were in the middle of Yam Suf. The Egyptians were chasing them while they're in the middle of the Yam Suf, and where they were standing, Yam Suf was still parted, and they were walking by Yabashah b'toch hayam. Moshe turned around, and the part of Yam Suf on the other side, from that part to the shore, all of a sudden returned to what it was beforehand. It was all of a sudden they were in the middle of Yam Suf, and nevertheless, in 1 second, the entire army that's chasing them, that's threatening them, just disappears. We see this later on, also in the Shirat. It says, at the end of the Shirat, it says, Kibas sus paro, brichbo v'ashav bayam, v'yashu Hashem aleim et me'ayam. The ocean came and drowned them. Uvenei Yisrael halchu b'yabashah b'toch hayam. After it talks about the fact that the Am came and drowned the Egyptians, it continues and says, Uvenei Yisrael halchu b'toch hayam. They're still walking b'toch hayam. There's all some of this, it's not just that the Yam Suf parted, it's not just that they walked through, but they're still walking through. And part of the Yam in which the Egyptians are trying to get through, all of a sudden returns to what it was beforehand, and nevertheless, the Yisrael continue to walk b'toch hayam, and at that second, you're not talking about a nace which is, which is able to overcome all the laws of nature, but you're also talking about all of a sudden a very, very ethical moment where God appears not only as somebody who controls all of nature, but somebody who also is the ethical and the basis of the ethical. And you see the Yad Hashem not only doing greatness and miracles, but the Yad Hashem that's doing the ethical and the right. The army of Mitzrayim were coming to attack them. They went back on their word. They're coming to attack them and chase them, and according to the Shirat HaYam, to kill them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in 1 second, the entire army of the Egyptians is wiped out, and Am Yisrael remain alive. It was the experience of revelation, of seeing the Yad Hashem, is God revealing Himself and who He was. Hashem, Hashem, Kel, Rachum, V'chanan, Hashem, Ish Melchama, Hashem, Shemot. That's what Shirat HaYam saw. And that was the basis, that experience of revelation, of actually seeing God, of course not seeing Him physically with eyes of flesh, but experiencing what God is. And in 1 second, having that sense of not only redemption, but of revelation and belief in God and seeing what God is really like, that's Az Yashir Moshe Uvnei Yisrael. At that point, not beforehand, at that point, Az Yashir Moshe Uvnei Yisrael. The spontaneity of the Shira coming at that moment is Az Yashir Moshe. We say Shira Chadasha Shibchu Geulim. Why Shira Chadasha? It's a spontaneous Shira. L'shemcha Sfat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hodu V'Mlichu V'Amru Hashem Yimloch L'Olam V'Ed. They accepted upon themselves Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu because Vayaminu Hashem U'Moshe Avdo, because of that revelation. They saw God at that point. Malchus Chara Uvanecha Bokei Yom Hashem. They saw the Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ze Eli Anu V'Amru Hashem Yimloch L'Olam V'Ed. And that's basically what the Shira is. The Shira is this eruption of praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because HaKadosh Baruch Hu was revealed to them. They experienced HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a very, very direct sense, in a way that the Medrash says, more than Yecheskel and Yeshayahu experienced him. But there's another meaning to Az. Az means then and not before, but Az also might mean then and not after. Because this was not only a great moment, but it also was momentary. The Gemara in Baba Kama, Daf Pei Beis, says afterwards, "Vayelchu shlosh hayam lo matzu mayim," and the drasha is that all of a sudden they realized that you can't go 3 days without Torah, because if you go 3 days without Torah, then all of a sudden they're going without mayim and complaining. And what happened exactly after Kriyas Yam Suf, that great point of revelation and total and full belief, all of a sudden 3 days went without that, and all of a sudden they started complaining. So Darsha Shemot Amru Ein Mayim Ela Torah Shenemar Haikal Tzamei L'Chul Hamayim. They went 3 days without Torah. Kevan Shachu Shloshim Bo Torah Nilu Amdu Nevi'im Shebeneim V'tiknu. There was a takana, you don't go 3 days without Torah, and that's why we read the Torah on Monday, on Thursday, and on Shabbos, because you don't go 3 days without learning Torah. It was a great moment. It was a great, high, experiential, emotional moment. But experiences fade. Emotions turn around. That moment, was a very, very powerful moment, which was total, complete belief. Vayaminu Hashem Moshe Avdo. But 3 days later, they already started complaining. You can't base yourself only on great emotional, experiential heights. It has to be also together with, with cognitive acts of limud and constant connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and not focus simply on those great experiential heights. Eliyahu Bahar HaKarmel, they all went there. Hashem Elokim, when the H came down Mishamayim and burnt the Mizbeach, and they killed all the Nevi'ai Baal. What happened the day after? The day after, Izebel tries to kill Eliyahu, and Eliyahu runs away to Har Sinai and asks to be killed. The great emotional, experiential height of Hashem Elokim didn't last. And therefore, it's not enough to have those great experiential heights. It has to be something continuous, which in a routine way continues the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's through Kriyas HaTorah, without 3 days going without Kriyas HaTorah. And there's one other understanding of Az in the Medrash, is that Az doesn't mean then, not before, maybe not even after, but Az means in the distant future. When we say Az Yimal Yischok Pinu, so Chazal say Az, in Ba'olam Hazeh, the Gemara in Brachos, Am Rab Yochanan Mishum Shimon Yochai, Aser la'adam sheyimal yischok piv ba'olam hazeh. Shemar Az yimal yischok piv. Az is in the future. When Bimos HaMashiach. So in Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadik Aleph, Minayin etchias hamesim min haTorah shneimar Az yashir Moshe u'bnei Yisrael. It's Ashir Azos. It doesn't say Az sharu. It says Az yashir in the future. The Shirat HaYam will be in the future, will be La'asad Lavo, will be at the time of Mashiach. And at the time of Mashiach, that's a time when the belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is total and is absolute and is continuous. And when we say, every morning, when we say Shirat HaYam, we complete the Shirat HaYam with other psukim, Ki L'Hashem HaMelucha, ומשה ברגים, ועלו מושיים בעציון לשפוט הריסה, והייתה להשם המלוכה, והיה שם למלך על כל הארץ, ביום הוא יהיה השם אחד ושמו אחד. We complete the Shir Hashem Yilach Ava'ed, and then we go on to talk not about what happened at Kriyas Yamsuf, but talk about Yemos HaMashiach. To talk about, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, when in the future, what that moment is not simply a isolated moment, that doesn't have a before and maybe not have an after, but becomes a moment in which the entire world, all of mankind, experiences HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a total and a complete sense.